Yo, stop what you're doing right now, because what just happened with Cardi B is something nobody was prepared for. Because for weeks, Cardi has been the definition of unbothered, silent, composed, thriving on her tour, acting like Stefon Diggs was a distant memory. But then she got on live and said something that stopped the entire internet dead in its tracks. And once you hear what she said, once you understand the full context of why she said it and everything that led to that moment, it's going to change how you see this entire situation. Because this isn't just about a breakup anymore. This is about patterns, betrayal, and a woman who's been through this exact same thing before and absolutely refused to go through it again. So stay with me, because we're about to break down the entire Stefon Diggs cheating scandal from beginning to end and explain exactly why Cardi finally snapped. Alright, so let's start from the very beginning, because you need the full picture to understand how we got here. May 2025. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs go public with their relationship, and on the surface, this looked like exactly what Cardi needed after finally escaping her toxic 7-year marriage to Offset, because Stefon was saying all the right things. He was telling Cardi, "Let me heal you. Give me a chance to show what real love looks like." He was showing up, being supportive, being present. Cardi was glowing. The internet was rooting for her. Everyone was happy to see her finally with someone who seemed to actually value her. By June, Cardi confirms the relationship publicly. By September, she's announcing her pregnancy live on CBS Mornings with Gayle King. She's sitting there beaming, talking about new beginnings and being excited for this next chapter. By November, their baby boy is born. And throughout all of this, Cardi is showing up to every single Patriots game in the freezing cold. She's posting about Stefon constantly. She's being the ultimate supportive partner. She defended him publicly when that strangulation charge dropped in December, and everyone was telling her to run. She stood by him. She invested everything into this relationship. But here's what was happening behind the scenes that the public didn't fully know yet. Stefon Diggs already had multiple complicated situations going on simultaneously. He has 6 kids with 5 different women. 4 of those babies were born in 2025 alone. Let that sink in. 4 children born in 1 year with 4 different women. And one of those women, Kiki, had her baby born in September, just 2 months before Cardi's baby in November. The timelines on these pregnancies, the overlap, the math of it all, it tells a story that Stefon was hoping nobody would piece together too carefully. Now here's where the Super Bowl comes in, because February 8th, 2026 is when absolutely everything exploded. The Patriots are facing the Seahawks at Levi's Stadium. This was supposed to be Stefon's moment, his Super Bowl, his chance to prove himself on the biggest stage in American sports with Cardi in his corner. But from the very first moment of that day, something was clearly wrong. A reporter catches up with Cardi before the game and asks for an inspirational message for Stefon. And this woman, who had been his loudest, most passionate supporter all season long, just looks at the camera and says, "Good luck," with absolutely zero emotion, and walks away. No warmth, no smile, just 2 cold words and she's gone. And the internet immediately knew that something had already broken before that game even started. Then the game happens, and it's catastrophic. Patriots lose 29-13. Stefon is basically invisible. 0 touchdowns. Worst performance of his career on the biggest night of his career. But here's what's happening simultaneously in the stands. Stefon's baby mama Kiki is there with their son, posting all over Instagram stories in his jersey, making absolutely sure everyone knows she's there. 2 months after Cardi had Stefon's baby, Kiki is at his Super Bowl live posting like she's the main character. And then there's Pri, another woman allegedly connected to Stefon's past, reportedly at the Super Bowl with what looks like Patriots credentials. So you've got Kiki, Pri, and Cardi, all potentially in the same space on the same night at the Super Bowl. Then, unverified reports start circulating claiming Stefon allegedly snuck a woman into his hotel room hours after losing the game, not even an hour after the final whistle. And Cardi? She left the stadium right after halftime. She had reportedly spent $1.2 million on a Super Bowl after party that she canceled. $1.2 million gone because she already knew. By the next morning, they've both unfollowed each other on Instagram. Entertainment Tonight confirms through a source that they broke up. Cardi posts done, and just like that, the relationship is over, at least publicly. But here's what was happening privately that sources close to Cardi have been revealing. Because the public saw the clean, unbothered exit, what they didn't see was everything Cardi was feeling and processing behind closed doors. And according to people very close to her, this situation hit Cardi on a completely different level because of one devastating reason. It felt exactly like Offset all over again. Think about what Cardi went through with Offset. 7 years of being cheated on. 7 years of being publicly humiliated. 7 years of forgiving and going back and believing promises that kept getting broken. She finally escaped that in July 2024. Spent 6 months healing. Chose Stefon because he promised to be different. And then sources say Cardi started realizing, slowly and then all at once at the Super Bowl, that she had walked out of one cheating situation and straight into another one. That the man who promised to heal her had the same fundamental disrespect for her her that Offset had. Just a different face, different jersey, same pattern. According to sources close to Cardi, she was devastated by that realization. Not because she loved Stefon so much she couldn't imagine life without him, but because of what it meant about the cycle she'd been stuck in. She gave Offset 7 years. She was not about to give Stefon 7 more. She was not about to repeat the same cycle with a different man. She learned from Offset that staying in a situation where you're being disrespected doesn't make you loyal. It just makes you someone who's comfortable being disrespected. And sources say this is the conversation that's been happening in Cardi's inner circle, that she talked to her closest friends and family about how eerily similar this felt to what she experienced with Offset. The overlapping women, the disrespect during public moments, the feeling of being humiliated on the biggest stages. With Offset, it was award shows and public events. With Stefon, it was the Super Bowl. Different venue, same humiliation. And sources say that parallel is what made Cardi's decision so clear and so final this time. Because with Offset, she kept going back, kept hoping it would change, kept believing the apologies. But this time, Cardi walked away immediately. No back and forth, no Instagram live crying sessions, no giving him a chance to explain. She saw what she needed to see at that Super Bowl, and she made her decision on the spot. And sources say that decisiveness, that ability to leave without looking back, is something Cardi herself sees as evidence of how much she's grown since the Offset era. Now here's the moment that the entire internet has been talking about, because while Cardi was processing all of this privately, a situation happened publicly that forced her to address everything in the most Cardi B way imaginable. Her rap rival Bia, who had been involved in an ongoing beef with Cardi, posted on X in response to footage of Cardi performing. Bia wrote, "Can you name someone with more baby mamas than receiving yards? I can. And I know that, you know what, never mind." A clear shot at Stefon's baby mama situation, and by extension, a shot at Cardi for being with him. And Cardi was not going to let that slide. So at her LA tour stop, right in the middle of her performance, she stopped the show, got completely real with the crowd, and in a moment that sources close to her say was completely unscripted and came straight from her heart, she went off. She said, and these are her exact words, "Let me tell you something. Just because I ain't fucking with my baby daddy doesn't mean you get to talk about my baby daddy, bitch. This for you, bitch." Then she went straight into performing her diss track Pretty and Petty, aimed directly at BIA. And that right there was the official confirmation. That was Cardi breaking down in the most public, most unfiltered, most authentic way possible. Not crying, not falling apart, but speaking her absolute truth on a stage in front of thousands of people, confirming the split, defending the father of her child, and drawing a clear line all in the same breath. Because that's who Cardi B is. She doesn't break down in the way people expect. She doesn't cry and collapse. She speaks. She performs. She dominates. But sources say that behind the confidence and the performance, there were real tears, real pain, real conversations happening with people she trusts about how betrayed she felt, about how she opened her heart to someone after the damage Offset caused and got burned again, about how she refuses to let this define her or derail her. Sources say Cardi has been incredibly emotional in private, even while being composed in public. And the people around her are being incredibly protective of that vulnerability because they know how much she's been through. What makes this whole scandal so significant beyond the celebrity gossip of it all is what it represents. Because Cardi B is not just any woman going through a painful breakup. She's someone who's been watched and judged and commentated on through years of relationship trauma, who's had her pain picked apart and analyzed and turned into content, who's been told to leave and to stay and to fight and to forgive and to do everything except just simply trust herself. She ain't fucking with her baby daddy, but he's still her baby daddy, and that deserves respect. Two things can be true. She's done with him romantically, and she's going to protect the father of her son from outside ridicule, because her child deserves a father who isn't being publicly dragged. That's not weakness. That's a mother thinking about her son's future. And while BIA got that diss track energy, Stefon reportedly got something different from Cardi. Sources say she's keeping things strictly about co-parenting. No drama, no public statements, no engagement with his alleged attempts to reach out. Just clean, clear, healthy boundaries for the sake of their son. Because that is the real growth from the Offset era. With Offset, it took 7 years to get clean boundaries. With Stefon, it took 1 Super Bowl night. Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to LoafTube for future celebrity videos, and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.